So imagine that we don't know how much money is actually out there right now because the Federal Reserve says, oh, there's X, but is there X plus Y because we have these other magic money machines?
Mm-hmm.
Is it actively looping through the Treasury General account, the TGA at the Fed? So it is all accounted for at some point.
Right.
We don't know. But here's the point about that, right? We got to talk about this real quick. The Federal Reserve has never been audited, ever. Now, they say they audit it, but what happens is the Federal Reserve hands statements to PricewaterhouseCoopers or KPMG, I think does it. And KPMG says, those numbers add up. That's it. There's never been a transaction level audit. And in particular, the GAO is forbidden by law from looking at where the Fed is spending and sending money overseas. Now, why would you want to send money overseas? Well, there's banks over there. There's also dictators. There's reasons. It's never a good time to not, keep an emergency hidden because there's a dictator to pay off. There's a nuclear bomb that has to be bought on the black market. There's some reason. But the point is, as of yesterday, we no longer know how much money is in the system. And that is now a worldwide known phenomenon. And are our trade partners going to be accepting dollars under those circumstances? Now, these things take time to percolate. So that's why, Evie, I sent this out as these alerts. So that subscriber alert, by the way, take a look.
There's your hair on fire.
Yes, this one with my hair on fire here.
And then it got put out.
Thank you, Barry.
Well,
yeah, it's
good.
smoking now.
I like that.
Well, this is how I roll, right? So first, this startling revelation, I had to really think it through. I put out a whole 45-minute piece down there. There's a big piece of writing around it. And then we have over 280 really thoughtful comments that have already been dropped as of this morning by people, some of them with 30 years in the payment system who understand bank messaging, challenging this, saying he must be wrong. Here's why. So that's what we have to do when we get a big piece of information like this, is really wrestle with it. And we tap into the community of experts we have to begin to make sense of it, right? It's really important. And then it gelled overnight. And then I put out another 53 minutes of, okay, let's unpack this. Let's go in deeper. What does this mean? But the implications of this are extraordinary, extraordinary. And then on top of that, we got the JFK files dropped. Bing! Squirrel, right?
I wonder which is the squirrel for which.
We don't know. We're not sure. Which is the real squirrel? It's tough.
Goodness.
We don't know anymore. Anyway, I would invite anybody who's interested in this stuff and understanding how to prepare for the future. That's what we do at Peak Prosperity. And we do it behind a paywall for a variety of reasons, not least of which is so we can say exactly what's on our minds without any filters, with any worry about, a Google spider crawling across it and taking our words out of context next year.
And it's a tribe of people that are actually, if you want to be anonymous back there, you can be.
Oh, absolutely.
And, it protects your identity to whatever degree you want to do that. And you can have honest discussions with other like-minded individuals, some of whom are very well informed about what's going on as well.
Yeah. And it's time to get resilient.
It really is.
Listen, if you can't, those who have ears to hear and eyes to see can tell you that right now there are things changing so rapidly that have such profound implications that you're going to have to become resilient. And that doesn't just mean beans in the basement or bullion in the bank. It means emotionally, spiritually, socially, social capital. You got to have skills. You have to understand what's going on. Protecting your wealth is going to be really important. But how do you protect your wealth when it's possible? We don't need the measuring stick turns out to be not even been made out of rubber. It's been made out of fantasy digits. Like if this raccoonery has been going on, Evie, for 70 years, say 50 years. Let's take it from the moment JFK is assassinated, right? 1963. That was the moment where the United States raccoons
they
said,
took over.
Hey, I'll tell you what this means. No rules, right? And so we've had a non-rules based system. To think that our money system operates by rules, but just somehow we broke all the other rules is dumb because money is power. So if that's the case, the question is, since 1963, which is 61 years, how much damage could have been done in 61 years of self-interested raccoons dipping their little fingers into that pie?
Ooh,
just a question.
How much damage? Yeah, that would take a few lifetimes to measure, I'm sure.
It would. So next segment here, Democrats imploding. I don't know how we're going to get through all my stuff today that I put together. Let's listen in to this.
Good morning. Welcome inside Politics Sunday. I'm Manu Raj. First up this morning, a brand new exclusive CNN poll that paints a brutal reality for Democrats as they struggle to mount a unified opposition to President Trump. Americans' favorable views of the Democratic Party's brand are at a record low, just 29%. That's compared to 36% for Republicans. It is the lowest ever recorded for Democrats in CNN polling going back more than 30 years. As you can see, the party's numbers dropping a staggering 20 points in just 4 years. The CNN SRSR's poll also found 57% of Democrats and Democratic-leaning voters are more interested in seeing their party leaders stop the GOP agenda.
And there we have it, right? So this is astonishing to me. So what the Democrats did has given them the worst polling in 30 years, and what they're doing is doubling down on those exact same things.
Great.
I
know
mean,
which direction this train's headed in.
Well, I'm astonished because you think at some point self-interest rears its ugly little head.
Right.
And you go, I know we were on the wrong track, and we may have to admit we were wrong. And people are telling us they don't like us both in polls and at the polls. I know. Let's just keep doing that anyway, because those people must all be wrong. Is that what they're thinking?
I mean, do you think they even are free thinking at this point? That magic dial you were talking about that mainstream media seems to have, where they can just dial in whatever they want at any point. I mean, they must have some inside track where these people are, spoken to or communicated with. And I mean, how could it be that they're doubling down? It's not based in any kind of logic at all. It's
flabbergasting, like jaws work, but words don't come out. Like, how could they be doing this at this time? It's weird. So it's whatever their fealty to this ideology is, it's more powerful than self-interest. That's the definition of a cult.
There you go.
Right there.
That's it.
Okay.
That last statement.
So that's what I think we're dealing with here, and we have to treat it accordingly. Now, this is interesting. So this is a perfect textbook, perfect example. This is a woman speaking about, the Department of Education cuts that are going to happen. And just listen to the argument. She can't be honest. So if she wanted to be honest to me, she would say, my paycheck is at risk here, and this really makes me unhappy. Okay. That would be the honest statement. But instead, we get this.
And when they cut half the people, it's like evisceration by 1,000 cuts. Yeah. So you want to do this? Have the fight with us in Congress. Let's make sure we get the issues out there. I'm so mad. I'm spitting mad about this because it's hurting the people who can't vote. Children don't vote. Let's not take away their opportunity.
Let's not take away their opportunity. Oh, no. Evie, what would happen, do you think, if we saw that they actually cut the people of the Department of Education? Think of the bad things that could happen. Think of all the bad things that could happen. Think. First off, the Department of Education has spent over $4 trillion since its inception, right?
Wow.
$4 trillion.
That's a huge
in inflation-adjusted dollars. But annual budget peaking at $268 billion in 2024. $268 billion. So we've spent $4 trillion since inception. Oh.
Okay. Our scores are terrible.
Absolutely dead flat reading scores. Nothing's happened. That's $4 trillion and nothing has happened. Oh, wait. That's reading. What about arithmetic?
Everything's crapping out.
Nothing. This is the horror that Elon is unleashing. He is saying, maybe we should do something about this. Let's not spend money that gives no return. And then you get that harpy on there. Think of the children. Whenever they do that, I reach for my wallet and I close. I'm like, plug my ears, because it just has nothing to do with the children. Like if she said, think of the children, she would say, and here's our plan for not being this miserable in the future. Here's how we could spend money and not have absolutely zero return for that money.
It's true. And all we've been really doing for the last 20 years, as far as I can tell, is we've been training children how to take tests, not how to learn.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's delivered predictable results. There
exactly.
they are. Oh, just a thing of beauty there. Okay. Now we got to turn real quick because I see the time. This is going to turn into the Signal afternoon if I'm not careful.
Yeah.
So let's talk about this. I got
Ooh.
swatted. You may not know about this if you've been just reading about anything in the mainstream media. But
you
this is a
haven't
big.
gotten swatted, thankfully.
I have not gotten swatted. That's why it's in quotes. The I
Okay.
got swatted refers to. So here's Matt Van Swole. This guy's formerly a Democrat who lives in Western North Carolina, lost the faith
Mhm.
after Western North Carolina was treated shabbily and miserably by the Democrats after the hurricane. Helene came through and ruined his part.
He says, in the interest of transparency, I've decided to release video footage of the swatting of my home at 2 a.m. last night. Please watch and understand how this could have gone horribly wrong if this was you and your home. This is not a joke. This is domestic terrorism.
So if you watch this, the cop pulls up and then his gun is drawn, right?
I saw that.
His finger's off the trigger, but his gun is drawn. So think about how this could go bad if you don't have a Ring camera, you don't know, suddenly there's some pounding on your door and you show up with a gun because that's what you might do.
And they shoot you because
you have a gun, right? That's the point of swatting. Swatting is an attempt to hurt somebody. Okay, well, here's an InfoWars journalist, Chase.
Chase says swatted for a second time in 12 hours. Here's the video.
Oops, journalist. I clearly did not. The edit department is.
Journalist.
We're gonna have to sack. We're gonna have to sack somebody in our edit department. Okay.
Is this a video?
No.
Oh, okay.
I just took screenshots. But again, so Chase gets swatted second time in 12 hours. So swatted and then swatted again. Now this is weird to me because when you call in a swatting operation, what that means is that you would call the police up and say, "Help! Help! I'm being attacked at my home.
Hurting me.
Yeah, Evie's hurting me. My name is Chase Geyser and I live at," and you give an address, right? And then the police would go to that address because they think violence is being committed or about to be committed. And they come there because it's an urgent situation. What's weird to me is that phones are all traceable now.
True.
Right? How do you make that call
on 911
without it being complete? Like, how does the NSA not know who that is? Right?
Oh, that's such a good point. Yeah, they could totally bag whoever's doing that.
Don't you think?
Or at least reference, like, if they live anywhere near that person.
Yeah. All right.
Wow. Weird.
So the info Chase got, so did Owen Schroyer just this morning. I wake up to this.
What?
Just got swatted. Look at him out there. But look who's showing up. Look at these guys. They are serious. They are ready to rumble, right? They've got, like, the guns are drawn, muzzles are up, and he's got to come out and he's got to back out slowly and hands up and all that. So Owen got swatted.
Wow.
Joe Pagliarulo got swatted on March 13th.
Wow. I did not know so many people were dealing with this.
Gunther Eagleman got swatted on around March 13th. Benny Johnson last summer got swatted. Juanita Broderick got swatted.
What? Really?
Yep.
Huh.
They said that there were 2 masked men inside and people had been shot. So police show up. That was on March 17th. So the FBI is going to finally go after those responsible, hopefully. We'll see. Good. Nick Sorter, his family got swatted. A dozen cops showed up at his dad's door. So they sent him to whoever these people are, figured out.
They're terrorizing his family.
Yep.
Wow. Do you want me to read any of these or no? You're just going through them quick.
Well, we'll just go through them, but it's interesting. He says, before calling in the SWAT, this dumb shit, I hope they found out who it is, sent my sister an email calling me a Nazi, of course, and here's that exchange. Your brother, Nick Sorter.
Why is your brother basically a Nazi? Is he just a dude who can't hack it in life, so he got a real estate license and now his personality is being a piece of shit? Do your parents not care, or are they where he gets this insanity from?
Right.
Wow.
And so this is the insanity, as Nick said, Melania Trump is what a real first lady looks like, not a power-hungry witch like Jill Biden. So that obvious Nazi statement right there.
Oh, yeah.
Obvious. The parallels are just, let's not belabor it. This is just be stupid of us if we did. So how about this one?
He goes on to say, so if my dad would have been killed last night after these pieces of shit swatted him, it would have been my fault simply because they don't like what I post. This is the logic of the radical left. this is what we're up against. These people are beyond sick.
Okay. So
Wow.
look what SGT 602 wrote there, and really consider this, what it means.
Okay. So if your dad had died because of you, you wouldn't have taken any responsibility. You're asking for, quote, illegals to have their doors kicked in when that friendly fire also happens to Americans who look like you. You're not a victim. You are the reason. Stop playing victim.
Okay, so that's the logic
Wow.
of the left here. It's like, well, there are these people in our country illegally, and they're going to be exported.
Mm-hmm.
So if your dad gets his door kicked down, it's just the same thing.
Yeah, and he deserved it.
And he deserved it because you support these people being exported from the country. This is insane.
This is some crazy tit for tat 6th grade mentality.
It's crazy.
It's really immature, though, Chris. Like,
and by the way, just what's kind of interesting is that somebody else had noted that every single one of those people we just talked about also has been, let's say, dismissive or even against the Ukraine war. So let's consider also the possibility that Ukraine, we know that they've been fingered potentially as being involved in blowing up the Nord Stream pipeline, but they also have been conducting bombings and extrajudicial, they've been assassinations worldwide. Is it beyond us to think that there's some angry Ukrainians somewhere in Kiev, like calling in swatting hits on people?
I mean, I don't
it's a
think
possibility.
So. It is possible.
It's always a possibility. But at any rate, Nick is happy because, not just an FBI agent showed up, but actually the SAIC showed up at his house. And so that's actually fairly high level.
Wow.
Which is pretty cool.
That's great.
And by the way, so that Ukrainian thing, so I went to SGT 602 and I took a look and, oh, look.
Sweden stands with Ukraine. You are not only fighting for your freedom, but also for all of Europe's.
Slava Ukraini, right? Okay. All right. Okay.
And as far as I know, I mean, I know Ukraine is fairly complicated, but could it be that, like those that are angry at Elon for looking into things in this country, that people in Ukraine are upset that the gravy train there might stop?
Oh, anytime you end
because
a
of the
gravy train,
corruption?
there's somebody who's willing to kill you over it. That's the sad part of this world we live in.
Yeah, no, I think that's what's going on. It's
Yeah.
like a giant mob
It is.
situation here.
It is.
Mhm.